Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Matt, and this is Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit, your beacon of freedom and the American way of life. Tune in every Mondays for a new episode as we dive into the world of liberty and what makes our country great. And welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Matt here with LLP. I hope you've all had a great week. You're home for all things normal in a world of debauchery and a world gone mad. Here we are, your beacon of freedom in this crazy little rude world we live in.
Yes, if they could hear us like 30 seconds before the mics go live, man.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if we should just record like the hour leading up to it and just not even record the normal show, because that might be actually more damn entertaining.
Yeah, that'd be the podcast right there.
Yeah, it'd be one doozy of a podcast. Today's show, we're going to focus primarily on SIG. Okay, and look, I know what people are thinking. You know, this is not some attempt to bash anybody or anything, but we have questions. I think a lot of people, the internet in general, they have their pitchforks and torches out right now. You know, we had an airman that unfortunately had an M18 discharge when it was not supposed to, and he died. All right, that sucks. That's no good. Of course, we hate to see these kind of things happen. There's a certain level of acceptance that soldiers and airmen and anyone who's in the military has to have some form of acceptance that training accidents can and will occur. And you know what? It's part of the job, is the accepted risk that sometimes things happen. And that's the fact of it. Now, was this just a fact of, oh, something just happened, it was a fluke incident, or is there something a little bit more to this situation that meets the eye? And I think we all know, based on what people have been saying in the past about SIG and some of the well-known and well-documented cases of these guns discharging when they're not wanted to discharge, has been kind of a well-known and well-documented fact. Now, I've talked to SIG here and there. One of the engineers from SIG, I'm not going to say his name because I certainly don't want to get him in any trouble with his employer, okay?
Yes, of course.
Obviously not. But one of the engineers at SIG told me that they know the problem, they know the fix, but that it's kind of difficult to know which guns are affected and which ones aren't.
I can see that because there's so many of them out in the wild. Because it not only is not M17s, M18s, it's also like 320s.
Right.
So
it's all the same basic mechanism.
Correct.
In terms of the way they work. So in case you guys don't know how, more or less, how these pistols, not necessarily how they work, but what one of the big sort of selling points and interesting things about these guns, what it actually is. And it's what's called a fire control unit. Okay. So the serial numbered portion on this gun is actually just a removable sort of trigger chassis, okay? And that is the serialized portion of the gun. That is for the purposes of transferring and calling it a firearm. It is actually just this trigger housing assembly. I'll show you real quick, okay? So we just bring this lever down. Now, this is a Wilson Combat grip frame assembly, okay, that I added on here. But I'm not going to pull the whole thing apart, but it's basically just this assembly right here. And if you look through the window, you can see the serial number, and there's a micro stamped sort of code that you can scan that'll give you all sorts of information. Of course, the model of the gun and the serial number of the firearm. This is a Wilson Combat grip module, and this is my stock M17 pistol, direct from SIG. Now, what problem are these guns experiencing? Well, there's been some random tests and there's been some well-documented type of situations, but I am going to, in the future, go out on the range and with live ammunition, I guarantee you that I can replicate what is going on with these guns. And it's not just me, it's other people that have kind of done a little bit of playing around and figured out how to replicate the issue. When the trigger is slightly depressed, just a bit, okay, if the trigger is slightly depressed and the gun experiences some sort of kinetic force, such as being dropped or something to that effect, or let's say the pistol drops like this and it hits in this manner, okay? If it hits, let's just say where the slide is still forced into battery, right? If the pistol hits on the back part of the grip safety area, or let's just say the part of the frame, then the pistol could theoretically shift out of battery, which would prevent the pistol from discharging if there were some failure in the mechanism. I think most of the situations where these pistols are being dropped and going off involve the pistol landing on the actual slide and the kinetic energy slightly depressing that trigger, and it doesn't take much force in just the right spot to make the striker fall. Okay? And that's a very unsafe situation. Now, is that to say that just because somebody has an M17 or M18 strapped on their hip that it's dangerous and they're going to kill themselves with it? No. These are extremely isolated situations, okay, that happen under apparently extremely specific circumstances. How many thousands of these guns are out there? Thousands, right? How many do you actually see hurting people? Now, the accepted answer, Matt, should be that no gun should discharge when you don't want it to.
Correct.
And of course, I understand where people are coming from. Okay. I'm not trying to defend SIG. I'm not trying to defend this gun design. I like this gun design. I love the M17. This is one of my favorite handguns. It has forced me to question whether or not I really trust this gun to carry my battle belt, or whether or not I'm going to switch back to my Glock 19X, which I think we know what the answer is there at this point.
Well, you have to ask yourself how many. So when you look at the grand scheme of things in the big picture, this only came to light mainly because the police forces were using this firearm and they were experiencing NDs. And there were a lot of reports like, guns going off in the holster, guns going off in the holster at training, guns going off in the holster while they're in their briefing room. And they're sitting down and it's hitting. So, but they all had the same common denominator. They were all SIG. How many of those?
And they were all in holsters.
Exactly. Now they started saying like, oh, that's a customized holster like this. There's like, that's not the right holster for that. Like, it shouldn't really matter because the trigger is covered. There was no action on the trigger.
Right.
But now look back and say, how many NDs did you see reported with Glocks? Like, they didn't happen. They didn't exist because the problem didn't exist.
Right.
They only happen with SIGs. And I mean, I'm not a SIG fanboy. I don't shoot SIG, but they are known as a premium firearm. And then you have to ask yourself, the reports were there. It happened with the police, and then it started happening in the military. And then now we have the airman that unfortunately was shot in the chest with his own firearm while it was sitting on a shelf. Who is going to take care of that airman's family? Because that's not, with all of the stuff that SIG has been putting out. And unfortunately, with us being in the military previously, we know that the SGLI is probably going to cover some of that. But in my opinion, that's something that, one, should have never happened. That family should be taken care of for the rest of their life, because he was using a weapon that was issued by the military. He had no choice. It's not like you have a choice in the matter of what you carry, what you're issued. Unless you're like JSOC or whatever, then those guys can kind of pick and choose what they want.
And truthfully, those guys can probably break anything eventually, give enough time.
But, given the circumstances, think of all the policemen and policewomen. They got shot in the leg, like they're shooting themselves in the leg. Mm-hmm. They might have ruined their careers, and SIG is denying, no, it's not us. Well, now the cat's out of the bag. All right. Something has to be done as far as, compensating the people that were injured, whether they're shot themselves in the leg, whether, unfortunately the airman that died. So what are the next steps now? Because now you have a firearms company that has, tens of thousands of firearms out in the wild.
I think the Marine Corps alone ordered like 50,000.
Yeah. Well, so the military is a little bit of an easier fix because they can just collect it. It's the civilian side
Yeah.
that is going to be the problem. Because again, on the military side, there's no, you know, liability as
Mhm.
far as like what the military does.
Mm-hmm.
But on the civilian side, there's a ton of liability.
And generally speaking, the one good thing that they have going for them is that generally most people use a military issue holster.
Yep.
So if the holster is causing some depressing of the trigger or some sort of inducing a malfunction somehow, they can narrow that down. Okay, maybe it's the holster design that's causing it. Of course, we know the gun is the culprit because the gun is the culprit. I mean, at the end of the day, if a gun goes off unintentionally and it's not related to ammo or not related to some faulty component that maybe it just failed in that, you know, I mean, any component can fail once in a blue moon, right? Have I broken a striker on a Glock before? Yes, I have. Did it cause the gun to uncontrollably go off? No. It just means the striker broke. It happens. It's a consumable part, and it takes mere minutes, if not even a minute. I could change it out in 60 seconds. It's a super easy component to just swap back out, and you're back to the races. We're not talking about a flat tire here, okay? We're talking about something, you know, we're talking about a bolt in the engine from the factory. This is something that it cannot be, you know, ignored, okay? Now, is SIG doing their due diligence to properly address the issue and see to it that these types of things don't happen again? Well, the Air Force released a statement saying that all of the guns in that unit are being pulled, and, you know, okay, yeah, like you said, pull the guns, get them back in the armory, send them back to SIG. No telling what SIG's going to do to them. I will tell you this. Now, I'm not going to say whether or not I heard this direct from this engineer or not. I'm not going to go there. And look, I don't want to get anyone in hot water, and I don't want to get no one in hot water. I don't want SIG in hot water. The truth is, I'm sure there's a fix. Wink, wink. There's a fix. Anything mechanical that can have a problem can be fixed. The situation can be probably resolved. Okay. The question is, at what point does someone decide, you know what, maybe the juice isn't worth the squeeze here? You know, yeah, can they fix the issue? Yeah, they can. Does that mean that someone's going to trust the gun anymore? Are people going to have a bad taste in their mouth? I mean, like, okay, the original M16s came out. Soldiers in Vietnam, some of them were running M14s, and the first guy to be handed an M16. No cleaning kit, crummy ball powder. The gun was rushed into service too quick. Now, the list of people who think that the AR-15 is not a good gun design now, all these years after Vietnam, now that list of people is probably very short. Most of those guys ain't around anymore. Okay, they're not with the living anymore, or they're very old and they don't care. But was the M16 as a gun design, was it always perfect? Wasn't without its problems, but that's bureaucracy that caused those problems, right? Ball powder that wasn't the correct powder, right? Twist rate issues, wrong powder, not issuing proper cleaning kits. Those are logistical and leadership failures and failures in, you know, in all of those sorts of things. That's not necessarily engineering failure from Colt or whoever, right? Okay. The M16 was and always has been a great gun from day one. It's the logistics that failed that gun. Is that the same here, though?
No.
Not so much. These guns clearly have some sort of an issue. Now, the SIG P365, which is the more compact Micro 9 version of essentially a sort of shrunk down version of the M18 and M17 series, the 365 is a very popular gun. And it wasn't without its little teething issues early on. In fact, you and I, Matt, we did a 1,000-round torture test on the SIG P365. And, you know, it was having that primer swipe issue where it was putting those marks on the primers, and some people were experiencing some issues. We didn't experience any issues. Is that to take away from someone that did? Well, no. If someone experienced an issue, they experienced an issue. But now they're saying is that the 365 can also potentially discharge in the same manner. if the trigger's slightly depressed and the stars align in the perfect way and it takes some kinetic force, theoretically, the gun could discharge.
I mean, I think that there was some complicit arrogance, I would even say, in the whole deal, because SIG had such a big contract with the military that it was in their favor and their benefit to ignore the issue or pass the buck to the actual firearm owner, because they know that if they were to admit fault on anything, they would lose, I would even say, billions of dollars. All the military contracts, not just with the US, but a lot of these firearms companies have contracts with foreign militaries as well. You know how much money they would lose if there was any admission of fault for anything that was issued to the military? They would file for bankruptcy. That contract, not only did they have the M17, M18 contracts, they had the ammo contracts, they had the new rifle contracts, they had the new LMG contracts, they had every single thing relied on nothing being proven. So you just kept seeing, say, like, pass the buck along. First it was holsters, and then it was like, oh, they had lights. So the holster was molded over the light, didn't give good trigger protection. Something dropped down inside the trigger, depressed the trigger. But when it comes down to it, it wasn't just SIG. It was also a lot of the trainers that were, a lot of the very well-known trainers were aware. There were some that stood up and said, hey, we're not allowing SIG P320s in our training classes. There's video of 320s going off on the firing line.
That's cold-hearted, man.
Hey, but you have to look at it. If you're from a business aspect, if you're a private trainer and you're hosting classes, the last thing you want on the line is a discharge, like hurting somebody to your left or your right. So you had the trainers that were complicit in saying, oh, this is a perfectly fine gun. Absolutely not. It's not. You had the military kind of lockstep with SIG, because the military doesn't want to look bad. The military is not going to be like, oh, we should have went with Glock. Obviously, they should have went with Glock. My personal opinion, because that if the deciding factor was, oh, one had a safety and one didn't, you can make one with a safety. It is possible. Ask California. Everything over there has a safety. All right. But also you have the way that the recalls work. If you guys are familiar with, vehicle and insurance actuaries, they look at the numbers and they say, what is the break-even analysis on when we do a recall? So SIG is not quite at that number, I suppose, where they say, hey, the amount of money it's going to cost us legally is still less than any type of lawsuit that we have to pay out. That's what they're looking at. Is it going to cost us more to recall all of these firearms and fix them and send them back?
Right.
Or is it going to be less for us to pay out a lawsuit for someone that dies? And at this point in time, it's cheaper to pay out the lawsuit than it is to recall
rehab everything.
Rehab everything.
That's a very good point. Well, Matt, I'm not gonna put the cart before the horse, because I do want to make a dedicated YouTube video on trying to induce some failures in this gun. Not to put the cart before the horse. I think I know what's causing the issue. I really do. I'm not going to say it though, because I don't want to implicate.
Tune in.
Well, I don't want to implicate any engineers that I've talked to. Yep. I don't want them getting in trouble, and plus, I promised I wouldn't say anything. It's just that's the reality. Like, I care about relationships, and there is a fix, and it's a simple fix.
I believe it.
I think it's a simple fix, and what a shame, because I really do like this gun, Matt.
They're great shoot.
I love this gun.
They're great guns. I mean, if you can just get one that won't kill you,
Yeah, I know, right? So, I do want to give a quick moment here to give a shout out to our sponsor for today's show, and that is mypatriotsupply.com. They are a long-term supporter of LLP. Big thanks to them for continuing to work with us for the long term. They're such a great group of people, and a big thanks to them. This summer isn't just hot, it's historic. Flash flood warnings are at a 40-year high, and it's not slowing down. Towns are underwater, roads are washed out, and in every crisis zone, the same scene. Crowds are standing in line, and they're waiting for bottled water, waiting for food, waiting for someone to show up and save them. And they tell you that help is on the way, but what if it isn't? What if the help takes days, or it never comes at all? You think that this system is built to protect you? They can barely handle one emergency, let alone dozens. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to be the one caught empty-handed. And right now, My Patriot Supply is giving away 4 weeks of emergency food. Just go to mypatriotsupply.com/LLP, that's Lima Lima Papa, to find out how to claim your free 4-week food supply and join millions of Americans who are preparing with My Patriot Supply. Claim your free 4-week kit today at mypatriotsupply.com/LLP. That's mypatriotsupply.com/LLP. That is Lima Lima Papa. 4 weeks worth of food doesn't suck.
Yes.
Now, I could probably eat it in 2 weeks, but that's another story.
I will tell you, I mean, thanks so
I've been
much.
eating some, man.
Yeah, well, thanks so much to My Patriot Supply, a great company. Always supported the show. So, yeah, thank you.
Getting back to SIG, so we are going to sort of divert on the show today. I mainly wanted to discuss the SIG stuff and everything like that, but we are going to talk about some other stuff in today's show. But real quick, I will say I love SIGs. It's very hard for someone to remove their bias from the situation. No one wants to be told, Matt, that their gun is dangerous. Especially now look, I'm just being honest here, y'all. I own SIGs, okay? Nobody wants to be told their SIG's a piece of crap. It's a SIG. Yeah. Look, SIGs aren't cheap. SIG, people consider SIG to be kind of a high-end brand. Like, not, everyone, when someone hears SIG Sauer, they're like, oh yeah, SIG, I mean, who doesn't love their 226?
Mm-hmm.
What a great gun, right? The Navy SEALs loved it and still love it. And I guarantee you, Navy SEALs would rather have a dusty old 226 than this. Now, is that to say that SIG hasn't put out some doozies? They have. SIG has put out some great guns. And I really hate, I truly know in my heart that none of this is malicious. Nothing's malicious. They didn't go out of their way to try to make this happen. Obviously, nobody wants to put out a gun that's going to discharge when it's not supposed to. Maybe they got, went through a little too quick, and maybe it's just something they didn't find in testing. I seriously doubt that in testing, if this issue came up, that they would allow this gun to go out the door.
Well, the running joke...
Maybe they just didn't know. Give them the benefit. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe they just didn't damn know.
Well, Eric, the running joke is that, the testing is the public with SIG. Like, that was kind of like their thing. They kind of put it out there. People, like, they let the general public be the testers, the beta testers, and then they come back. And that started with the 365. Everyone's like, hey, we got to do this. We got to fix that. So it's kind of been their thing for a few years now. But you're right. SIG is known as a premium product, like, very similar to like there's companies out there that are in that same vein, like HK. Like when you like, oh, what do you shoot? I shoot a HK. I shoot a SIG. I shoot a Staccato. Like there's certain brands that are just a little bit higher tier than other guns. I would even say that I've heard people blaming the chassis system. They're like, oh, it's, you don't see this because that's the chassis system. And I always,
this is aftermarket.
But have
you ever seen this grip?
Yeah. The Wilson Combat grips. Yeah.
Have you held it? Oh, it's not bad. Can you reach?
I cannot.
Damn it,
One
man.
second.
Come on. There you go. Don't worry. There's nothing in it. It's not going to.
It is unloaded, guys.
It's unloaded, dude.
Yep. Unloaded. But I mean,
nice?
It is. I mean, but SIGs, they shoot so good. They feel good. This particular one has the Wilson Combat frame on it. So
I feel like I have to register this one opinion. So one of my viewers left a message that I thought was really, really funny. They said, I wonder how many penises have been shot off because of this gun. What the?
I mean, it's a very valid
Would they ever
question.
tell anyone? Or?
It'll come out in Discovery, you know.
Yeah, yeah. There's gonna be like a little column,
yes.
you know, and it'll have like, you know, genitalia mutilation.
Oh man.
Oh, how terrible.
Well, to get back to that, people were blaming the chassis system, like kind of what made this weapon what it is. And I always argue back. I'm like, that's not true, because there's other chassis systems on the market that don't have any issues. My gun has a chassis system in it. Never had any issues with it. But God, I mean, it's a good pointing gun. It shoots very well, good
velocity,
yeah,
reasonably long barrel.
You know, recoil impulse is very good. It's not like hopping all over the place. I mean,
and let's face it is a really cool looking pistol too. Like I think it's a very, very handsome looking gun. I mean, look,
looks good.
You know,
it looks good.
I don't mind it. I do not hate it.
I mean, it looks a lot better on your battle belt than a M9. You know, it's like that chonky gun of a M9. So,
yep.
But that's the thing. Like the chassis systems aren't an issue. It's the gun itself.
But I do like the Wilson Combat grip module.
It feels good.
Wilson Combat also makes the 365 grip module as well, and they're both great. And they have a few different versions. This one's the one with the full rail, but they have one for the M18 as well. So what I'll do, just as full disclosure, when I do attempt to, well, there ain't gonna be no attempt to it. I think I know how to induce a failure in this gun. I'm within a 90 percentile protocol. I believe I can induce a failure in this gun consistently, over and over and over. In fact, I'll induce a failure and still hit the target. How about that?
Nice.
I'll point the gun and I'll hit it. We'll see. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. But I just will say that with this particular gun in the grip modules, I will test it with the Wilson Combat grip module as well as the OG OEM frame as well, just to make sure that there's no... Because if I can induce the stoppage with both the aftermarket frame and the factory frame, then they'll tell us that has nothing to do with the damn frame. So we're eliminating some variables. I'll start with the OEM. If I induce the stoppage, I'll put the Wilson Combat on and see if I can induce the issue. So
that'll be a good one.
That way we know. In fact, I might even try to induce the issue with the Raider, the Flux Raider. So it uses a P320.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can get the Raider to discharge.
You're gonna get Flux all mad.
And look, that's not a dig. Look, that's not a dig on Ben or Flux Raider, because look, Ben just signed a deal with SIG to offer, the chassis, his Raider chassis, and he also does them for Glocks. I love my Flux Raider. Yeah. It's such a freaking great It is awesome.
Isn't that a great story though? Like he made that product and it just kind of got picked up with the military, and I was like, okay. That's like that rags to riches type story.
Well, man. It's crazy. I wish I would have thought about it. I would have produced the letter. I remember Ben wrote me a letter early on. He sent me a Raider and was like, hey, I want you to check this out. And he had just mentioned, hey, I've been watching your stuff. And it's just so wild. I remember I met him at SHOT Show. He was just carpetbagging. He didn't have a booth. Look, y'all, technically you're not supposed to carpetbag at SHOT Show. They don't allow it technically, so I'm not trying to call anyone out here. But there are vendors that will just bring a bag of crap to SHOT Show and walk around and show it to people. They're not supposed to do that. They don't allow carpetbagging. But I remember he walked up to me and showed me. He's like, what do you think about this? Wow, man. It's really cool, And I love that type of story where someone has an idea and they see it through and they see it to fruition and it produces for them. And I admire that. I love American ingenuity. Nothing finer. And Ben is a great guy. And I love the Raider. I think it's a fantastic setup. I have a B&T USWG with a Glock 17L. And that gun's fantastic. I love it. So for Glock, if I'm getting the PCC treatment for the Glock, I kind of prefer the B&T for that Glock 17L.
I was going to say you got the long slide in that one.
And then I do the Raider. But if I am going to run a SIG, you better believe that Raider is fantastic. So make no mistake, I love the platform.
And real quick, just on the carpet bagging thing, it's not that you can't afford a booth at SHOT Show. It's that the seniority doesn't allow you to get where the main people are. So it could have been very well like, hey, you can afford a booth, but you just can't get a booth. They'll put you down in the basement in the dungeon where you just don't get as much foot traffic. And for those that don't know how it works, you have to kind of pay your dues in the dungeon of SHOT Show and work your way out.
But a lot of times the innovation is in the dungeon now.
Mm-hmm.
You do find some innovative stuff in the dungeon.
Yeah.
And honestly, if someone was going to go to SHOT Show, and let's say they only have one day to spend, which is hard because it's a lot of ground to cover, personally, is it two places that you'd want to go, in my opinion, and this is just, we're getting off subject a little, but I'll just
it's a podcast.
piggyback on what you're saying. The law enforcement section with all the cool grenade launchers and machine guns and less than lethal and shields and riot shields, I always find that to be fascinating. I like that just to see what's out there, and I like the dungeon.
Yeah.
Those are the two areas I like the most because you see so much interesting stuff. I remember the year that I met the guys at Royal Tiger Imports, and they had that reloadable flashbang, which was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it was made, it had this spring-loaded firing pins, like a plunger that had a springiness to it, and when it hit in a certain way, it was set off.
Yeah,
and you just loaded like a shotgun blank in it. It's a reloadable flashbang.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember they sent me a video, sent me a unit to do a video on. And they're like, well, we have to have it back, though, because I guess they're a DD or something. It was some stipulation as to why you couldn't really have it out there that much.
Yeah.
But I thought that was such a clever thing that they had a reloadable flashbang.
Yeah, like a reusable one.
Yeah. What a great way to save waste versus, if we're talking a smoke grenade. And this is a real deal M18, by the way. Don't ask how I got it. I will never tell.
Which is a shame that they consider that a DD, but
yeah,
it's a smoke grenade.
Right. It is an inert one, by the way. It's not really a functional one.
Yes, inert.
But if this thing were used, I could just set this off in the basement right now. I mean, holy crap, dude, that would suck. That would suck. And this is yellow, too. It's the worst one. But when you use a smoke grenade, that's it. I mean, one use, one done. Dude. But I think that's smart. If like unit replacement costs to run a reloadable flashbang, that's next level. That's great.
That reminds me of a funny story, man. We were at the mount site at Stewart, and do you remember it was all concrete buildings and like it was all like concrete driveways and like you're running around on concrete into the buildings, and we're practicing, room clearing and clearing buildings.
Yeah.
Well, we had smoke grenades, and I had to like throw a smoke grenade to cover our movement to go from one building to another. And I remember the cadre said, "Hey, make sure you throw the smoke grenade in the grass." And I threw it, and I missed, and I hit the concrete, and I rolled on the concrete. And I didn't realize why he wanted me to throw it in the grass, because it was purple. It was a purple smoke grenade. And it just like started blasting out purple smoke, which we were like, okay, cool. But when it stopped, there was like purple burnt
stains
smoke all over. They were so pissed.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
They're so
not happy.
pissed.
Someone's got to break the pressure washer out.
Somebody had to come out there and clean it. It wasn't us, but somebody had to clean that. They were like super pissed.
It's so funny how down at Stewart, they used to always give us so much crap about the slit latrines. So when you're out in like these random rural places on military posts, like they don't have plumbing. A lot of times they're just their latrines, they're, wooden, metal, or sometimes concrete, usually just like a metal tin sort of building with just like universal shitters in there and basically it's an over glorified outhouse.
Yeah, it's like a piece of wood with a tub underneath.
Yeah. Well, not even that, just a hole in the ground. And once they get really full, they just bring the little poop truck out there and they clean them out from time to time. And I remember one time they were like, yeah, don't throw, MRE bags in there and blah, 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 blah. And he said, because it clogs up the little poop sucker thing. And they wanted to make it so adamant that you don't throw MRE bags and plastic and things, because they were so worried about the little poop truck man getting his little hose clogged up that they had to, spend 10 minutes talking about why you don't throw it in there. And it's just so funny. You would think that, like, who does that?
Yeah.
Joe will.
Oh yeah.
Joe, and there's no telling. And anyway, not to divulge too far down this rabbit hole, but I remember I was at Fort Benning, and this is when I was doing basic training way back when. And I remember we were out at I believe it was the moving target range, where they have the little pop up.
Yeah, I remember.
And then no one can ever hit the damn thing. So like, I mean, you might hit.
I don't think they work, man.
Like at 100 meters, you could probably, but they have ones 300 yards. Yeah. Damn well they can hit those things. Yeah. So anyway, the moving target range.
Yep.
And it hadn't been used in months. All right. And we were the first cycle to use it after a long hiatus of it not being used, just because they weren't doing rifle training at that time of the year or whatever. Anyway, and I remember one of the guys opened the door to the latrine to go in, and I kid you not, this snake came out of the latrine. I swear to God, this son was 8 feet long. I don't know. None of us stopped long enough to look at him or take, we couldn't take pictures, and none of us had our phones on us. But I tell you, that sumbitch looked like a freaking radiator hose just pumping along, and it's like he never ended. It was like, holy crap, that's the biggest freaking, I think it was a giant king snake. I think it was the biggest snake I've ever seen.
Holy cow.
And whatever he was eating in that latrine, he had a lot of it.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. But he was in there chilling in the shade, I guess. And he didn't have a care in the world. That guy opened that door. He just came out like he was invited. And he didn't mind us one bit. He just slithered on out and went about his way. And we all just kind of looked at each other like, damn. And then, of course, the first person to sit down.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, nobody
on the toilet.
No one's doing that.
What else is in there?
Yeah.
What is going to come up and bite my ass?
Yeah.
So anyway, interesting story. So we're going to roll back a little bit here. This is the part of the show where we'll always either do some show and tell or something kind of fun. So some of you may remember when we used to do our fight or flight episodes here on LLP, where we would take a bunch of food items and just test everything out. We've done like hot peppers before. We've done all sorts of different alcohol and libations and things like that. The pepper one was fun. We did the 1 chip challenge. So sometimes we just eat random things and discuss it.
That was not fun.
No. and it's crazy. You were suffering big time.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's freaking hot. But I don't know, like my scale for hot, it just didn't really bother me that much. And then we did the ghost pepper.
Yeah.
The dried peppers.
It was something, man. I was not happy. I was not good.
Anyway, I digress. Today, we're going to do just a super little quick mini flight. I know some of you have probably heard about this Dubai chocolate. All right. Everyone's talking about this Dubai chocolate. All right. What is so special about it? What is it? What does it taste like? Is it any good? One of the most notable reasons, I suppose, that people talk about this freaking chocolate. And now look, these guys aren't paying us to talk about this chocolate. I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about because it's cool, and it's kind of famous right now. It's like a $15 bar of chocolate. Okay. So you're talking a $15 chocolate bar. That's all. That ain't no Hershey's now. It's a very expensive bar of chocolate.
Yep.
Is it worth the $15? Is it all that great?
We're going to find out.
And we're going to find out. It's made in Turkey. It's Turkish.
It is.
Yeah. So it's got, all right. What do we see on the label there? Pistachios.
So it's a nice gold regal, not just a label, but like a whole case.
It is fancy.
It is, beholden to the name of Dubai.
Want to try it?
Yes. So it's
crack her open.
Nice little case. This is a non-GMO. So they're trying to be all nice and fancy. Milk chocolate.
Yeah.
With kadayif and pistachio cream.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see.
You never had it?
Never had it. I remember you asked me. I was like, nope, never had it. And he was like, all right.
Full disclosure, I've had it. I didn't film my initial reaction when I first tried it. That seems to be a thing now. People want to film their reaction. What a clever marketing scheme. It's like, oh, let me take something really common and charge a lot of money for it. And then people will film the reaction to justify why they spent all the money on the really common item. But what we want to discern here is it a $15 bar of chocolate?
Well, I mean, they're doing a good job with the packaging. It came in a nice cardboard package, like the nice gold foil.
Yeah, it's got the golden ticket vibe. Willy Wonka.
Definitely.
Now, what would a Turkish Willy Wonka look like?
I don't know, but his name wouldn't be Willy Wonka. It'd be well, I'm not going to go down that road.
Yeah, let's not go there.
I'm going to get in trouble.
Let's not go there.
All right, let's see if I can get this thing open.
I think you're going to be surprised at the consistency of this chocolate.
All right.
I want you to make note of that when you open it.
Well, I mean,
you touch it for the first time, you're going to be like...
It's definitely like soft. So it's like a soft, like you can tell it's got like a filling, a nougat filling.
Yeah.
Right.
Break you off a piece, son.
All right, let's see here.
Yeah, just tear a piece off. Yep. You're good.
All right, so
you're
I'm going to take, it's broken up into 4 sections.
Show them what it looks like.
So it looks like this. So it's got 4 sections in it. I'm going to take the bottom section. Oh, it's got like a nice little filling in there.
Uh-huh.
Here you go. I'm going to pass this over to you, Eric. There you go.
I got it.
All right.
You don't ever have to freaking convince me to eat some chocolate, son.
All right.
All right, I'll grab the other piece. Wow, and what I always thought is that it's so strange is the consistency of this chocolate.
It's very soft.
But not melt in your hand.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Let it marinate.
Mm-hmm.
Let it marinate. All right, I'm going to take a bite. Damn, son.
I mean, I'm not going to lie.
What's your initial thoughts?
It was very good. Like,
what are some things that come to mind?
It reminds me of like a baklava.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Lebanese baklava.
Or like a truffle.
So for me, I get like the phyllo dough. It's like a phyllo dough with like nuts, creamy. Mm-hmm. It has like that honey flavor. You can definitely tell they put a little bit of honey in there. It's got a good consistency. It's like almost like a Rice Krispie treat kind of crunch to it. The filling, the chocolate is very good. It's not like super sweet though, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not a huge fan of like sweets. And it's really good. It's not super sweet at all. It's got a good mouthfeel. Like it still feels like it has some substance to it.
It's satiating.
Yeah.
You notice that? Like it's kind of filling.
I would
agree.
Get
that vibe
mm-hmm.
that it's like if it were just a plain chocolate bar, it wouldn't hit the same. Like it's kind of filling. Mm-hmm. Like it makes you feel full. Right. I wonder if that's for the pistachio that's in there.
I was gonna say like I wouldn't eat more than one piece. Like one little section. Like I'm gonna finish this and I would feel.
That's great with some coffee afterwards.
Like it's a very satisfying
mm-hmm.
feel to it. Like you don't need to eat the whole thing. Could you? Yes. Yes, you could.
Yeah.
But do you feel like do you feel the urge to finish the whole thing? Not really.
All right. Any complaints?
No, man. It was good. It's very good. I got one more little piece left.
Have at it, son. Don't be shy. Get in there.
I mean, it is. I mean, $15. I wouldn't be mad. Like, I would not be upset paying. I think that's worth the $15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're a chocolate person and you just love a bar of chocolate, it's kind of beyond that, though. It's like a completely different vibe than just a bar of chocolate, though.
This is not something that you would eat in one sitting.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm not saying it's on the same level as like Wagyu beef or Kobe beef, but moderation is key. Like you're not going to eat like a freaking 32-ounce, Wagyu steak. Like you're going to eat a small.
Says you.
Well, it is best like moderation. You get yourself a nice little piece, eat it, enjoy it. Could you eat a 32-ounce Wagyu? Yes. Is that the normal portion size? No. So if I was to spend $15 on this and I ate it over the course of 2 or 3 days, like one little section, like every day, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
If I brought this home and immediately just shoved the whole freaking bar in my mouth and like $15 gone in, 30 seconds.
You don't do that? Okay.
Oh man. No,
all right.
No.
Any complaints? I would say my initial reaction is very good chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
I got no problem with it as a delicacy. I kind of feel like I would love to have this like when I'm out hiking or something, have a little piece of it. Just, it's very satiating. Even a small piece is very satiating. But the problem is, dang well if it's not going to travel well.
Oh no.
It's soft. It's going to get all ooey gooey from the heat. So, I mean, that's really any chocolate. I'm not saying it makes this chocolate unique to melting, but it does have that melty sort of vibe to it. That, I mean, even here at room temperature, it's already a little soft and gooey. I would imagine a slight raise in the temperature this will not travel very well.
Yeah. No,
So,
I agree.
That would be really my literally only complaint, is that I can't take it with me when I hike or something.
Yeah.
But beyond that, damn if it isn't good.
It is very good. And I'm glad this was my first time eating Dubai chocolate with you guys, our listeners and our viewers.
It's kind of a
LLP.
meme, like, everyone's all about it. So before we get back into the show on the intended subject matter, I do want to give a quick shout out to the new merch store that we've got set up, Based in Mad. I mentioned it in last week's episode, but I'll just kind of mention it. The based part is, hey, we know what it means to be based. You've probably seen the magnet back here. We got cups, we got hats, we got all kind of shirts. Here we got the Rhodesian Army ad, which is pretty cool there. And Based in Mad, it's kind of a lifestyle brand. It's a lifestyle brand for people who are absolutely fed up with the crap and have a unapologetic view of freedom and their own intuition and seeking the truth in all things that they see in life. So, it's not an unknown thing that I've been very vocal on a lot of different subjects. And, it's been very tough. I've been canceled. I've been dragged through the mud. People try to censor me and cancel me left and right. So I really came up with this brand overall as a way for people to, show their support for people that aren't afraid to draw outside the lines. And that's really what I want it to be about, right? So pick you up a mug, a hat, a shirt, show your support, and it's a good way to support my efforts and get something cool in the process. So check it out, basedinmad.com. Get yourself a Based in Mad mug. Show everybody how damn based and mad you are.
Send in the pictures. You may wind up on the show.
Send me a picture and you might wind up on the freaking show. Yep. Make it as offensive as possible. We aim to offend. We want to make borderline unwearable t-shirts, but only borderline.
Yeah.
I promise you can still wear them, and maybe you won't get in an altercation with somebody at the gas station. But hey, if you do, maybe that's your vibe. That's fine too. But anyway, so let's talk a little bit. I know we really spent a lot of time talking about SIG. We've got a few minutes left in the show. I kind of want to get back to that subject for a minute. I want to make it clear, that I would never try to go out of my way to talk crap about a company. I mean, if you look at SIG holistically over everything they've ever made and judge a company on that, okay, yeah, a fluke of a product. Now, granted, one hell of a fluke, because that's a very big mistake. But I think overall, holistically, they've put out some very good products over the years. I have no problem with SIG. I'm not, I know it's sort of the popular thing to do is to talk trash about SIG. Because, that's what the internet does. When there's blood in the water, the Second Amendment community loves to circle like sharks, and they love that blood in the water, and they love that drama, and they love it all. Now, are there merited reasons for that blood to be in the water? There are, and they're going to have to come to terms with how they're going to sort out that PR issue on their point, whether it's going to be correcting the pistols, paying out lawsuits, or whatever in between. It could be any number of solutions that they're going to have to come up with. Let's get away from that for a moment and just Talk a little bit about quality control and QC in the 2A community, or in the gun world. Let's just say the manufacturing world as it pertains to firearms. You know, have there been other situations where QC has been, let's just say, not a major issue, but an issue, a point of contention that must be considered? Now, I'm not trying to shine the light towards another company just to take the heat off SIG. I'm just saying there are situations like the Hudson, okay, the Hudson 9. All right, Daniel Defense bought the Hudson, and now they make, they essentially have their version of that gun that Daniel Defense has their own pistol now.
Yep.
It's a modified version of the Hudson. What do? They took the known issues with the Hudson and they fixed it, right? The new Daniels are great, okay? It is not even really the same gun anymore. I mean, it's a shadow of what it used to be, but the old Hudsons had some barrel issues and a few teething problems that the original engineer of the gun was a brilliant guy. He built a really cool gun, and I think people really wanted to like it, and they wanted to support this guy because he was a veteran. And again, I have never made a video where I took a crap on the Hudson, even though the guns were giving some issues, primarily really bad accuracy. They were having some accuracy issues, not so much issue of functionality. They were perfectly functional, just wasn't quite there. There were just a few things that needed some tweaking. And for whatever way, shape, or form, maybe the original engineer just was not prepared to fix the problems. I'm not going to get into that. That's above my pay grade. Point is, Marty came in, made him an offer, and now it's a Daniel Defense product. What do you think he's going to do with it? He's going to go through and pick it apart with a fine-tooth comb. He's going to fix the issues, and it's going to be something worthy of the Daniel Defense name. Again, are there issues where products have failed to deliver? There are. The Hudson, I mean, that's one example. I'm sure I can think of some others, if you think about long enough. I mean,
one that comes to mind is Remington they had the issue with the Remington 700 actions. And that was a big thing with the military. That was a big thing with the military because all of their like M24 sniper rifles were basically firing.
Think about how many Remington 700s have been made over the years. Think about how long the Remington 700 has been a model designation for Remington.
A very long time. It's
not like it's anything new. That gun has been around a long time in various ways, shapes, or forms. So you have some 700s that got out and have an issue discharging or something. Does that mean that Remington gets a pass? I mean, if they corrected the issue, sure. I mean, how many Remington 700s are perfectly functional 50 years later and have never had a problem, never will, versus the ones that actually made it out that, okay, had a sear engagement problem, or it could be an issue with the stock clearance on, maybe they used someone's aftermarket stock and didn't realize that there was something, not coming into contact. Now they should know these things before they send the gun out the door. But how do we know that there wasn't some minor fitment issue that, it was pushing on the sear, or it was doing this or doing? So there's always going to be like, when a company partners OEM with another company, like for instance, when we look at Ben with the Flux Raider, and then, being able to buy a Flux Raider SIG package directly from SIG.
Right.
That means that SIG is putting their name on his product, and he's putting SIG's name on his product, that they are saying, hey, our products are one and the same. Right. Yes, on an OEM level, companies will purchase components from a major brand and then integrate them into their guns. Ruger's done it. Like, you could buy the ATI stock Ruger 1022s direct from Ruger. Okay. They take the ATI stock, they install Ruger 1022 in it, boom, they send it out the door, it goes to the retailer. It just makes the process easier. A customer doesn't have to buy aftermarket stock. They can simply buy Ruger 1022 with an ATI stock already installed. Same thing with Magpul, right? Ruger has a 1022 Magpul kit. You buy the Magpul 1022 ready to go directly from them. So on and so forth. OEM brand deals are not a mysterious unknown thing. They happen all the time. There are plenty of situations where companies will integrate the products of other companies into their product at an OEM level where, hey, you're buying it from us. You're buying it direct from us, and it has whatever widget installed. And, hey, we're saying that this is a quality component that we're willing to put our name on, just like they're willing to partner with us. So there's a lot of strategic partnerships that go on in that type of regard. That's a good example.
Sometimes it can not work out that well. Like in this particular case, like, I know that Flux doesn't have any issues, but being attached to the SIG name now might raise some eyebrows for people in the future because you can buy I don't know about the Raider, but you can buy a Flux product on its own. I don't know if you can buy a Raider on its own. If you can.
You can buy just the
okay.
Raider.
I didn't know if there was like a backlog of a wait list, because I know for a long time he had a wait list for a couple of his products.
So I do want to give a shout out as well to our friends at Dark Mountain Arms. So I don't know if you're familiar with Dark Mountain.
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, they make these like crazy little compact bolt action pistols.
Okay, yeah.
That are like kind of like a survival rifle.
Okay.
Right. So they have one in 5.7 by 28 and they have one in 22. Now from what I hear, they're working on one in 45 ACP. So the idea is you could have like a suppressed 45 ACP, little compact bolt action rifle, that sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
But they make these little like compact survival guns, right? And I just think that's an innovative thing. You know what I mean? I want to mention that, it seems that there's so much lack of innovation in the firearms world. And sometimes we're jaded that we throw so much shade against a product like the H9, right? The Hudson. Yep. Go back to the Hudson. Everyone throws so much shade on it because it didn't work the way that they really wanted it to out the gate. Hello, are you designing anything new? I don't see you making anything new. Everyone just wants to copy everybody else's stuff. Ruger just made a copy of the Glock, essentially.
Everybody did that, yeah. Gen 3? Like
no one's got any right to complain about something working or not working when they're not the ones with putting the blood, sweat, and tears and putting in the sweat equity to make something new.
Well, that, and a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is to design or create something, because I remember there was this project that we had to do when I was in school, and it was a system of levers. So you had like 6 or 7 levers that you had to pull, but you had to pull them in a certain order to complete the project, to complete the puzzle. Mm-hmm. And every time you would pull one, it would cause a reaction. There was never a point in time where you pulled a lever to fix something that something else didn't change. So imagine the guy that's designing the H9, like the engineer, every time he tried to fix something else would change. That's just the nature of the beast, especially when you're creating something, when you're concepting something as simple as, I need to create a little bit of clearance for the barrel so it's not like right up against the frame. I'm not like I'm messing up the harmonics. You change that one little thing, something else changes. And now you've created another problem. So it's this ever ongoing issue of like pulling levers and other levers moving. And until you find that perfect setting where everything works. And it is difficult, especially if you're a smaller company.
That's so true.
And you don't have, millions of dollars to throw at a project.
Yeah.
And you don't have the time. Like, you're invested. Like, that's another thing. You're in a lot of these smaller companies, they've mortgaged their house, they've taken out loans. Like, I don't want to say, you're on a time crunch, but at the same time, you don't have, years to figure this out. Like, you need it now. So honestly, him being bought out by Marty is probably the best thing that ever happened to him.
He really did have a lot at stake with that. And, hey, I have nothing but respect for people who risk it all. Because, I mean, that's really what makes our country as beautiful a place as it is, that you can put all the chips on the table when you want to, that you can have a dream and you can chase it. And I'll just end today's show. My final thoughts for the show would be today that anyone can make one thing work well. It's one thing to prototype something and have it work precisely the way you want it. And it's another thing to take that item and put it into mass production and produce it. Manufacturing and prototyping are two different things.
Oh yeah.
And I think where we begin to see a little bit of issue, and listen, I am never going to say a damn word negative about George Kelgren. Okay. I love Keltec. I love Keltec's guns.
So quirky.
But they have had their share of teething issues over the years. Now, they always figure it out. Hey, all good. But he is such a brilliant guy. And everything is so new and groundbreaking that, of course, when you're making so many new things that are literally just came out of that brilliant head of his, of course, there's going to be some room for kind of playing around to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think sometimes they'll throw things into production, and it's like, maybe a little tweak or two might be necessary.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I love their gun designs.
They're very,
I really do.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about,
He's a brilliant guy.
The groundbreaking design, the shotguns, the Kel-Tecs. I mean, when those things first hit the market, man, there was nothing on the market like that. Just the design itself, drew people to it.
I know. Did
they function 100% of the time when they first came out? They had their teething issues, like you said, like all Kel-Tecs.
Yeah, my OG KSG, I have an early KSG. It was like one of the first 5,000 or whatever that was put out. Works fine. Never had a problem out of it.
That's what made mini shells famous. If it wasn't for the KSG, nobody would give a damn about mini shells.
That's true.
But as soon as you say, I can hold 30 mini shells in this one shotgun, all of a sudden everybody loses their minds.
Yeah. And then what did Mossberg do? They released the 590S that can shoot mini shells. And first it was a conversion adapter that allowed the mini shells to function in the pump action. Then they just made it a thing. Let's just make all the 590s compatible with mini shells because, hey, you can increase the capacity. And, the slugs at close range, they still hit pretty hard.
Yeah, they'll kill you.
Even though it's not a full power slug, it's still powerful enough.
I mean, can you imagine being the guy at Aguila and overnight you're like, what in the hell? Why are so many people buying these boxes and boxes of these mini shells that have been sitting here on this shelf for probably 10 years? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden you sold an entire warehouse full of mini shells.
Right.
And that's why.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, KSG was like, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, why not? So you can't make an omelet, boys and girls, without cracking a few eggs. Now, all right, now that's one egg to crack right there. Now, we'll see how it all plays out. I want to make it clear that I admire SIG as a company. I appreciate the innovation. And here's the thing, like I said, you can't make an omelet without cracking some eggs. Well, guess what? You're going to make a new product. Right, a new rifle, a new machine gun, like they did that belt fed. Mm-hmm. They did that new rifle that the military's issuing. The new cartridge, right? What 277 Fury, whatever they call that thing. Right, I'm a little behind on some of that stuff, but I follow it enough to know. But you're gonna make something new. You're gonna innovate and design something. It's gonna come with some teething problems here and there, And if nothing is ventured, nothing's gained. I just hope we can learn something from the process and make a better product, right?
Yep.
And if it's one thing that I know about SIG, is they're going to get to the bottom of the issue and they're going to fix it. Bottom line. Now, how they apply that and how it happens, how it pans out, is yet to be seen. But I know they're going to fix it. I know they have the capability to fix it. I know they have the expertise to fix it. And dare I say, they have the solution for this gun already. You hear me?
But at the same time, I don't think it should come at the cost of anybody's life or livelihood or anything. And that is the absolute, crusher of the situation, is that it had to get this far for, dare I say, the military to even acknowledge it. Because after everything that happened, the military, it took someone dying for them to pull them off, to remove them from service. Just for that unit, not even military wide. It was
imagine that fiasco.
Yeah. So unfortunate as it is, and man. Hopefully that family gets taken care of.
Man, I sure hope so.
That'll be a real disaster right there.
Yeah, I really hope they get taken care of, and I hope that whatever issue is underlying with these guns, that it's solved quickly, because we got our men and women have to have a way to protect themselves.
Yep.
Personally, I would have went with the Glock. That's just me. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. People can say what they want about Glocks. People accuse me of being a Glock fanboy. People accuse me of being some paid shill for Glock, like that. The truth is, I know what I can like anything I want. Okay, I don't have to have someone's permission to say, tell me what my opinion is. My opinion is based on experience. Okay, my opinions are based on what I've seen and acknowledged and witnessed, and I can count on one hand the entire time I've ever ran Glocks, dozens and dozens of Glocks over the years. I can count on one hand the amount of stoppages I've seen.
I believe it.
They work. And I'll tell you what, those MMPs. I love my Smith & Wesson MMP. It's such a fantastic gun.
One of the best guns I ever had was a
I
Shield.
would absolutely feel 110% confident protecting my life in the moment of life and death with an MMP. 100%. 100%. That, this gun right here, son, let me tell you something. This Performance Center 9L, better look out, man.
No, dude.
This
That's a shooter.
is a freaking great gun. And dare I say, Matt, I almost would prefer this to my Glock.
I mean, it's nice. You got ports. It was magna ported. It's a good gun, man.
This is a fantastic pistol.
Yep.
One
of the best guns.
People who say what they want. If I say that a Glock is good, if I say M&P is good, it's because I own the damn thing. I've used it for years. Like, it's not just some conjecture.
But at the same time, Smith & Wesson has had their issues with, maybe not with their polymer guns, but I know they had their issues with the wheel guns, and that's something they worked out as well. They were just, they fixed it. That wasn't something that they kind of like swept under the rug. It was like, hey, we have some issues. Let's fix it. And that was it.
I think some of the first gen, what is that? Like that KSG copy, more or less, that Smith & Wesson made. I forget what they call that shotgun. They had some initial little teething issues with that gun. Of course, Smith & Wesson's a highly capable company.
Yep.
Boom. Very quick and easy to fix the issue and then move on with life,
But they also are really easy to work with sending stuff back. Like if you have an issue, like they take care of it. Like
Smith & Wesson's customer service,
second
to none. They are fantastic in every way when it comes to taking care of their customers. And I must say, I've had the same experience with SIG. Anytime I've had a problem with a SIG, turnaround's really quick. Had a problem with a CZ one time. Fast turnaround.
Nice.
I got well taken care of by CZ. I got well taken care of by SIG. Never had to send anything back to Glock.
Yeah, never had to send anything back.
Let's just call it what it is. I never had to send a Glock back. I had a Mossberg one time that I had a problem with, a 590A1 that was having some major issues. Sent it back and they had it back to me in a week.
Nice.
Really fast turnaround. Mossberg always take care of me. So a good company, there's a good mainstream company, they're going to be legit. They're going to handle it. If there's a problem, you believe they want to fix that problem. So, they do not want a faulty gun, especially Daniel Defense. Like if you talk to Marty, he'll say, "Oh yeah, I'd rather give him a whole new gun than have a Daniel Defense product out there that has a problem." They'll just replace the gun. Like, if it's that bad, of course they're going to do an internal review and figure out what the problem is. But if you think they're going to put a bad gun back out, no way. They'd rather replace the gun than do that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I know we're talking about firearm OEMs, but I mean, I had the great experience with Mepro Light, just with one of their red dots, man.
Yeah.
Like
they take care of it?
Way out of warranty. Way out of warranty.
If they made it right.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because think about it. Do they really want someone out there trashing their product?
Yeah. Like
what is your reputation worth to you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, if you're making a $400 red dot, what does it really cost you to just replace the damn red dot? Even if it's out of warranty. I mean, that ounce of prevention prevents a pound of mishap. And guess what? If you ever decide to buy another Meprolite, it won't be an issue of, oh, well, I don't know if I can trust it. Well, if they make it right no matter what, who cares if you can trust it or not? If price is a consideration, if the warranty's good, give it a chance.
Yep.
What do you have to really lose? That's why I don't understand why people give Olight such a hard time. I know that I've been at the center of a lot of controversy regarding Olight because of the amount of content that I've made for Olight in the past. That's fine. But again, I always sort of challenge people like, well, if the lights are so bad, why do they warranty them in the way they do? Like, if you have a problem, they're going to fix it.
Right.
What's the big deal?
How are they still in existence? Like,
right. Why are they still around?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
how are they still
that's
around?
the thing. Like,
how are they still operating?
I don't understand what the controversy is. If it's a product that's priced reasonably and, and it's got a good warranty, let them compete. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see any American-made flashlight manufacturers reaching out to me and telling me, "Hey, beat my light up, do this, do that." They're like, no way. They don't care.
Think about how many have come and gone.
I'm not saying they're not good lights. I mean, I love my Surefires. All of my sort of fighting rifles and life and liberty guns. Yeah, I run 640 dual fuels on everything. I love Surefire. Is that to say that I haven't had an issue with a Surefire end cap going out or a bad switch? Sometimes. Does it change my opinion of Surefire? Well, if I can't get anyone on the phone and remedy the issue, it's actually cheaper for me to just go buy a new freaking switch and not even bother trying to go to them for anything. So whose company's better? Is Olight really that bad if they actually respond and just handle the problem versus you have to go through this glowing bureaucracy at Surefire and then still not even get an answer? Like, what's your time really worth to you at that point?
Right.
It's almost cheaper to just buy the freaking switch myself and just change it out and throw the old one away and not even bother trying to even contact them for anything.
Man, Surefire brings back memories.
Well, I mean, look, I love Surefire lights. It's funny. Chad always you tell me the story about his little backup, Surefire backup. Mm-hmm. I always tell the story because I think it's so funny. And I know we're going way over on time, but that's all right. It's our show. We can do what we want.
Yeah, our show.
We'll end on this note, but he lost his backup. He couldn't find it. A little bitty light.
Yeah.
And he looked all over. Well, he was mowing the grass one day, and there's this one area where, the water kind of puddles up a lot, and he, I guess, had dropped it in a puddle of water. He was mowing grass, and of course, the water had already dried up and all. He's mowing the grass, and he heard a clang. Just looked over and noticed, oh, there's my backup. He dropped it out of his pocket when he was mowing. And this was 2 or 3 weeks. It took him weeks of that thing laying out in the yard. He finally found it. But you better believe it still worked after being submerged and out in the weather and getting hit by a lawnmower. So it's like, say what you want, but that's a fantastic light.
Yeah.
And it's an industry standard for a reason. It's a good light.
Probably was reaching in his pocket to get his cell phone pulled out, and then
it happens.
Yeah,
it happens. But I think we dove into some interesting territory on this show, and we have a lot more on the way, y'all. I really appreciate you bearing with us here. I'd love to kind of go off the rails and just discuss lots of different things. I love the story driving, sort of idea of podcasts, like how you can just really allow it to go any direction you want. And I enjoy that.
I enjoy it too. And I think our listeners enjoy it. There's a very small, group that don't, I guess, quite understand the concept of a podcast. But the majority of you guys, thank you so much. You guys completely get it and understand what a podcast is. And, it is like just a story driven conversation. So yeah, use the chapter markers if you don't.
Yeah, we do have chapter markers, y'all. So you can drop around, slide around wherever you want. Thanks so much for tuning in. Many more on the way. Remember, you can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that podcasts are found. Also on Iraq Veteran 8888, you can find us if you want to see our smiling mugs in video form. Here we are for your amusement and perhaps scrutiny.
Yes.
Whatever you want to do there. But we are on YouTube as well. So thanks so much for tuning in. Many more podcasts on the way. We'll see you guys next week. Every Monday, 9 o'clock, theoretically, if I remember to upload the show on time. Yes. But yeah, we post every Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Life, Liberty, and Pursuit. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else podcasts are found. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate that. You can support us over on Ballistic Ink by picking yourself up some merch. And remember, guys, danger is freedom. Have a good one.